I'm Owen. I'm 23, a university student studying IT. I'm the kind of guy who's more at home in front of a screen than a bonfire. Coding, late-night gaming, black coffee, that's my world. Parties, not so much. I've always been the quiet one, the observer, blending into the background while the rest of my friends light up the room. But here I was, at the edge of the forest, surrounded by blaring music and chaos. I should have stayed home. I wanted to stay home. Instead, I was here, clutching a drink I didn't want, wondering how soon I could slip away without anyone noticing. The music thumped like a heartbeat, pulsating through the clearing where the party raged. I was hesitant to come in the first place, but my friends had insisted. "It's just a bonfire by the woods," they'd said. "It'll be fun." Fun turned into chaos quickly. Shots passed around like candy, the bonfire casting monstrous shadows against the forest edge. At some point in the blur of the night, my head began to swim. The world tilted and dipped like a sinking ship. I stumbled away from the noise, my legs unsteady, my vision blotchy. "I just need some air," I muttered. My voice swallowed by the revelry. My head was pounding, and it felt as if the ground itself were pulling me down. I barely made it past the first few trees before the darkness overtook me entirely. I woke to the piercing cold of wet soil against my cheek. My head throbbed, my body stiff and aching. Groggily, I opened my eyes. The forest surrounded me, silent and immense, the towering trees blotting out the moonlight. "What the hell?" I muttered, sitting up and clutching my pounding head. My phone was gone, and the muffled sounds of the party were nowhere to be heard. Only the rustle of leaves and the distant hoot of an owl accompanied me. As I stood, trying to orient myself, a sound froze me in place. A skittering, like claws on bark, sharp and frantic. I turned, my breath catching in my throat. Something darted between the trees, too fast for me to see clearly, but small and unnervingly quick. "Hello?" I called, my voice trembling. The forest offered no reply. Then came the sound again, closer this time, accompanied by a low, guttural chittering. It wasn't any animal I recognized. It wasn't even right. It sounded wrong, like something from a nightmare. Panic surged through me as I turned and ran. The underbrush tore at my clothes, the uneven ground threatening to trip me with every step. Behind me, the skittering grew louder, the chittering turning into a shrill screech. Whatever it was getting closer. I dared to glance over my shoulder and caught a glimpse of it. The creature was about the size of a large dog, but moved like an insect, its thin, wiry legs carrying it in erratic bursts. Its eyes glinted, luminous and hateful, and its mouth, rows of jagged teeth that seemed too large for its face. It was a grassdaggle. At least, that's the word that surfaced in my mind, though I had no idea where I'd heard it before. I sprinted, my lungs burning, my heart hammering. The creature was fast, unnaturally so, and it seemed to delight in toying with me, staying just out of reach but close enough for me to feel its presence. A clawed hand swiped at me, catching my jacket and tearing it open. The sting of the cut beneath made me cry out, but I didn't dare stop. Up ahead, the trees began to thin. A glimmer of hope ignited in me, the edge of the forest. If I could just make it out, maybe I could find help, find safety. The creature let out an ear-piercing shriek, as if sensing my intent. I pushed myself harder, my legs screaming in protest. I burst out of the tree line and stumbled into an open field. The moonlight bathed the area, revealing a farmhouse in the distance. The grassdaggle didn't follow. It stopped at the edge of the forest, its glowing eyes locked on me. It let out one final guttural hiss before retreating into the shadows, its movements unnervingly smooth. I collapsed in the field, my body shaking, blood oozing from the gashes on my back and arms. My breaths came in ragged gasps as I stared at the dark line of trees. Whatever that thing was, it didn't belong here. It didn't belong anywhere. Days later, I sat in my room, the wounds stitched and bandaged but still aching. The doctors said they looked like claw marks from a bear, though no bear had been seen in those woods for years. I tried explaining to my friends what had happened, but they laughed it off. "Man, you must have been so drunk. You probably tripped and rolled into some brambles." But I knew better. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw those glowing eyes staring back at me, heard that skittering, that chittering, felt the claws rake across my skin. Even now, sitting in the safety of my home, I couldn't shake the feeling that the grass staggle was still out there, waiting, watching. I'd escaped the forest, but I knew a part of me would always remain trapped in those dark woods, running for my life from a creature no one else believed existed.